Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show, brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, Long Island's largest provider of rock salt, and the largest provider of rock salt pretty much anywhere in the tri-state area and maybe even in surrounding states. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, 631-756-1125. They have still plenty of rock salt. They are closed this afternoon because they're going to be opening at 3 a.m. on Thursday to help you with the cleanup. So if you need stuff to help you with your cleanup, rock salt or all the snow melt products or whatever it is, Omni will open at 3 a.m. on Thursday. Also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini of Lindenhurst, and they're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst. Their phone number is 631-957-5106. Your complete holiday lighting specialist for all holidays, not just Christmas, but for St. Patrick's Day and for Halloween and more. So give them a call if you want to get your home decorated by Wholesale Holiday Lighting of Giannini. 631-957-5106. The website is liholidaylighting.com. So, Mr. Rayo,
Yes, sir.
how much you got on the ground so far from this? Because you're
I
north,
haven't,
so
I haven't been out to measure specifically because
eyeball it.
uh, it covers the ground, and then for a while, about an hour and a half ago, it started disappearing, and now we've had another surge, and the ground is covered again. But I really don't think we have much more than an inch or an inch and a half. I don't have any official measurement as of this moment, but it doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot. But I know things are a lot different to the south over portions of Queens, for example, Long Island, central New Jersey, for goodness sake,
Yes.
where we've been tracking this area of moderate to heavy snow. I've heard unofficially that around Freehold, they've had like 6 or 8 inches of snow out of this
Yeah,
already.
there are already there are a few numbers that are above the 6 inch line. They actually were above the 6 inch line. Some of them over 2 or 3 hours ago. Uh, I woke up this morning. Uh, I woke up this morning a little later than usual because I went to bed a little later than usual last night because I wanted to see all at least some of the model runs. And the first thing I saw, because I think I left it on the Mount Holly website. First thing I saw was a special weather statement from Mount Holly issued at 5:30 this morning, talking about a heavy snow band extending into northern Monmouth County that had already produced 2 to 3 inches. I knew right then and there that we were in trouble. So you actually I was about to put that up, but you've got it up there. The Fort Dix radar by
Oh, this is
Mr.
the
Rayo
Upton.
has it. Is
This
that
is the Upton
Upton?
radar.
Okay, you got Upton. So when we switch over, I have Fort Dix ready to go. But go ahead.
But you can see this is the area of yellow orange here. I would have to say, Joe, conservatively 3/4 to 1.5 inches per hour, and there are these little concentrated zones of deep red where probably they're seeing on the order of 2 or more inches per hour. But notice it's moving quickly off to the east northeast, and this snow lovers, this pretty much. I hope you're in your element because I think this is pretty much the peak. We're going to be seeing a sharp diminishing of all of this in the coming hours, Joe. And as we move into overnight tonight and tomorrow, intermittent periods of light snow, maybe a minor surge again late tonight and again maybe later tomorrow. But if you want to get all of your snow, this is the time frame that we're going to get it, because it looks like this is going to be the main surge of snowfall of moisture with this particular weather maker.
I want to talk about the overnight stuff because I'm not I'm not completely sold on the idea that it's just going to be what some of the snow removal guys I work with refer to it as junky snow. But I'll get to that in a moment. So you got that's the Upton radar. So I'm going to go to the Fort Dix radar because we can at least see the back edge of this on the Fort Dix radar. And by the way, there is some convective stuff in here somewhere because we are seeing. Look at that. I mean, look at that area when it came up out of Philadelphia and rushed up to the northeast. There have been some reports of sleet mixing in a few places inside that yellow and red zone. So there's probably some kind of warm pocket in the upper atmosphere. The back edge is now moving out of south central Pennsylvania and moving out of Delaware. So this is moving along pretty much in terms of what they think the models were showing. The NAM again to me was the big outperformer here. And particularly, I want to make reference to the global models, which Joe were awful. I mean, really, they were terrible with all of this. Especially, when you're looking at areas down south of Route 78 down to Route 195, getting into those really heavy snow bands. I mean, they were just terrible. And the NAM had its hiccup yesterday where it pulled the precip back and cut it in half, but then it brought it back last night at 6Z, and suddenly we went from having 4/10 of an inch of liquid in New York City to over 7/10 coming in during the day today. So yeah, it leaves me suspicious with regards to tonight and tomorrow because there is a second wave that is going to develop here. And I think that there are some questions regarding whether the overperformance of this will lead to the underperformance of the second wave, or is there going to be room here for a second little bulge of precip to develop tonight into tomorrow morning and maybe lasting into tomorrow afternoon? Maybe not to this level. I don't think it'll be to this level, but it certainly might be enough to put down an extra couple of inches in some places. We were talking about last night, Joe, splitting, get half of it the first half and half of it the second. Well, I'm going to leave the door open until I see the next cycle of models to see what's going on for tonight into tomorrow.
The 12Z NAM on LaGuardia dumped a half an inch, 0.50, from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Then they virtually cut that in half to about a quarter of an inch between 1 o'clock this afternoon and 7 o'clock this evening. And then just dribbly, drabbly, dibbly squat snow, if there is such a term, from 7 p.m. tonight all the way through the rest of the night and on into tomorrow. Now the plumes, the SREF models are showing two minor surges coming back in here, one between about 1 and 4 tomorrow morning, and a second, I'm not sure if that's going to work out, toward the end of the storm late tomorrow.
Yeah.
Before everything finally shuts off.
Well, the 6Z NAM overnight gave 4/10 of an inch of liquid for late tonight through late tomorrow. It actually had a fairly impressive looking area of precip coming up with that second wave. 99 times out of 100, those second waves don't wind up doing anything. But given what's happened today, especially in areas just south of New York City, and we've got some snow amounts here. These are updating. I just freshened it up to see if we had any new ones. Now I have 3 inches here, and I am, just to show you wherever, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll draw a circle around it. So I'm right up here, okay, in Sound Beach, and the 2.7 that is up there on the map. Hold on, let me just get that off of there. The 2.7 is Kings Park. Now, I've got a buddy who's over in Comac, which is not too far. This was at noon, but I have a buddy that's over in Comac, which is west of Kings Park by about maybe 5 miles or so, maybe perhaps a little bit more. He has 4 on the ground there. So 3.5 at Deer Park. This was at 12:15. Levittown has 3, 3.5 in Whitestone. Heading over to New York City, I think this must be the park here, 2.5 at 12:15, and they were still moderate at 12 o'clock. Linden has 3, 3.8 at Plainfield. We've got 4 in Aberdeen, and then you start to get into some of these bigger numbers here. Tinton Falls at 5. I believe the chairman in Manalapan, the last number he gave me about an hour and a half ago, I think he had 5 or 6. We've got a 7 in Eatontown, and that was at 12:19 p.m., 2 inches since 7. Joe, even Alan Casper in the tropics of Seaside Park got to see some moderate snow and some accumulation, along with the sleet and the freezing rain that they got along the Jersey Shore. I think he might be watching here. counting, staring out the window at the same time, counting to the flakes as they come down, catching them in a tin cup.
Is that a 10 I see?
Yes, Hamilton Square in New Jersey has 8 so far, and on the Pennsylvania side, yeah, I mean there were some up around Willow Grove, 8.5, 10.4, and Abington, Pennsylvania, and I have one of my snowplow guys works out of there, and he confirmed that, so it's not somebody with a little bit of ruler envy. White Marsh Township, Pennsylvania had 8. And then, of course, we can go down closer to Philadelphia, where of course, they measure the snow at the end of the runway with the jets on the back of the jets as they're taking off. So they have 2.8 inches in Philadelphia, 3 and Upper Darby. Cherry Hill, Haddon Township on the other side, on the Jersey side, had 2 as of 12:45 with some sleet mixing in. So there are some big numbers here. It looks like right along 270, where you've got up to 10 inches in some places. I think Ben Salem in Pennsylvania has almost 10 on the ground there. So a lot of areas wound up outperforming out of this. Very impressive, really, when you think about it. Because this is not really any kind of well-developed storm. It's just a nice flat little wave that is moving right along. Now, the snowfall forecast map here was updated at 11 a.m. So a lot of this, some of this is snow that is yet to fall. Some of this is snow that is on top of what's already fallen. And the start time goes back to, I don't know, I'm not sure what the reference time is here. So if you're looking at some of these maps, you always have to be careful to look at the timestamps because they can be deceiving if you're not careful. We've also had some changes going on at the moment with regards to various winter weather hazards. You know what? I think it just might be easier for me if instead of waiting for this to load, let me just pull up the weather.gov homepage and we can take a look at it there. So we still have winter storm warnings up for much of the state of Virginia, but they've now been changed to winter weather advisories in Maryland, Northern Virginia, Delaware, and South Central Pennsylvania, mainly because the snow's winding down. And we still have winter storm warnings, Eastern Pennsylvania, many of the counties in New Jersey, advisories along the coast, winter weather advisories over Long Island, winter weather advisories Hudson Valley, Connecticut, and also up through Massachusetts. And not to be outdone, we still have winter storm warnings up for parts of South Texas with surrounding winter weather advisories there as their ice situation there starts to wind down. Flood watches, flash flood watches up in the Carolinas. Working tornado watch. SP again, severe weather here. Working tornado watch in the Florida Panhandle and into southern Georgia. So a very busy weather afternoon for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what do you think about the secondary surge?
The next surge. Okay, so
Yeah.
look, let's start this torture. Why don't you bring up the new European, because that really by now it's out to 72 hours, so that's all we really need at this point. So you bring up the new European and let's take a look at what it has to say. And while you're doing that, I'm going to scour around on pull up a couple of other maps and have them ready to go. Okay.
Sure. I'm
But
doing as you're speaking. I'm trying to do that right now.
Okay,
So
and by the way,
um,
welcome to everybody to joining us here on an afternoon, because we don't often come on except during storms at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But here we are. We've got almost 300 folks. Hopefully, you're pulled away from your desks at work to watch this, because we don't want you to get into trouble. 66 thumbs up. Loving getting over 100. Thank you for those of you who have hit the thumbs up like button. And if you like the show, you can do that. And also, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel by just using your Gmail account so that you get notifications every time Joe and I come on, which lately seems to be almost
a lot.
nonstop. And we've just jumped over 100. So let's shoot out for 2. Robert Russo hitting super chat. Thank you so much. And appreciate those of you on the chat board As always, you guys are wonderful and terrific, and thank you. A number of you have been sharing your snowfall amounts. I'm trying to scroll through here to see if what I can find. So if you've got some snowfall amounts, if you could mention your location, and if you're referencing a small town, uh, to just give you an idea of the closest bigger city you're near, so that we have a mental idea. Tony M, that's Anthony. That's my buddy Anthony up in Harrison. He's got 2.1 on the snowboard so far, up where
I
he
think he
is.
changed that, Joe.
Oh, he
I think he
changed it.
changed it. I think he changed it to 3.1.
Oh, now 3.1. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, I get that's a post from earlier, and I'm just kind of rolling down. So 3.1 in Harrison, and we still got 2 or 3 hours to go of solid snow around here. So I think we're gonna, the forecast numbers I think are going to be made. All right, so go ahead. I'm seeing you looping there. So okay, so that's what right now.
This is as of 18. This is 15 minutes ago, and you can see the area of green is indicative of liquid precipitation amounts. This is from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Amounts generally on the order of at least 0.15 or greater. The deep shades of green down here are about a third of an inch, and down here in the yellow, which is over the Delmarva area, we have amounts of about a half or 0.6 inch. Notice also, Joe, that in spite of the fact that we have mostly snow across the tri-state region, and yet look where the 540 line is projected. It's,
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's north of me.
Well,
So
Joe, Atlantic City at 12 o'clock was moderate snow. Look what their thickness is. It's almost 552.
that's right.
I
That's
mean,
right.
this cold air from this high, because of the Arctic origin of this high. Remember, this is part of that air mass that dropped down into Texas. I mean, this was seriously. I often mention use the phrase "quality cold air" as opposed to the junky cold air you get sometimes if you've got a Pacific influence. This was really high quality cold air, and it's still having an impact because it's sitting up there. That high is sitting up north of New York State and holding that cold air in, and that's why you're seeing snow as far south as you are, even though the normal forecast techniques would tell you that it should be rain.
Correct. So normally when I see colder than normal temperatures, especially at the surface, I'll say, okay, 540 is the all snow line. 546 would be the boundary zone for, let's say, sleet, rain, and snow. And somewhere midway, you'd probably have more snow than sleet or rain. But in this case, this from 540 to 546, you'd have to say this is all snow or mostly snow. Yeah, there's a little bit of sleet that has been reported in parts of New York and maybe Long Island, and then down here, snow, ice, sleet, and eventually some rain at the very bottom here at 552. But you're right, this is unusually cold and unusual for what you typically would look for. Now, as we move to 12 hours, this is 7 o'clock this evening. Notice that the Long Island and parts of the lower Hudson Valley, Westchester, New York, eastern sections of New Jersey are still in the green, still presumably on tap to getting at least 0.15 to maybe 2/10 of an inch additional moisture between 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock this evening. And then by 7 o'clock, it should all be pretty well, the lion's share of the really significant stuff should be over. But we still have to deal with, lingering precipitation. And notice, if you will, how the shade of gray, which indicates kind of like not all that much in terms of precipitation, liquid precip, as of 1 o'clock in the morning. Notice it gets darker. The shade of gray gets darker, indicating that there may be another surge of a bit steadier light snow toward daybreak tomorrow morning, and continuing into the first part of tomorrow. And then finally, after about midday tomorrow, beginning to lift out and away to the east. And finally, it's all over. Well, mostly it's all over by tomorrow evening. This model, the European, wants to suggest that we might still have some spots here and there of little snow or flurry activity lingering, maybe in parts of Long Island, all the way through the first half of tomorrow night, for goodness sake.
Yeah. Again, I'm just gonna keep an eye on what's on the what the radars are doing tonight and tomorrow, because the models are just not having a good time with all of this, and I could show you a few other examples of where there are issues. So I just brought up I went back to the snowfall forecast map. Now, to be honest, with everything that was going on, I never really checked yesterday what they were going for in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, but I'm looking at some of the numbers down here. Now, there's a 10-inch number here. That's got to be a mistake. That's obviously the decimal point's off. There's another one. There's that. This number, this 10.5. That must be either 1.5 or something to that. Yeah. Well, Anthony had a typo happen to him where the storm from a couple of weeks ago, this 14 inches, I think, became 140 or something. And I messaged him to let him know that there was an error, and that was reflecting a weather service problem. Frederick up to the northwest in Frederick, Maryland, 3.58. You get further north and west in Maryland and in northwestern Virginia. You're looking at numbers. Martinsburg in West Virginia getting over 5. Charlestown, 4.5 in West Virginia. Let me go back to the other side here. Hang on a second. One moment, please. I got to widen this map out just a little bit, just so I can get an idea of what I'm looking at here. Percival, Virginia, 2.4, and you can see the amounts just kind of scale back a bit. Now, also remember, not some of these obs are old, and there might be other ones that will join the fray here. Also, back through New Jersey, because Frank on the chat board said, Frank Isarick, I hope I pronounced that correctly. The numbers in Jersey, by the way, that were on the map, there's nothing down, and you said you're 15 miles north of Atlantic City. Well, the numbers in southern New Jersey that are on the map are all from Mount Holly on westward. So there's nothing showing up here near the coast. Now, up at Point Pleasant, it's 2.5, but that's way north of you. I mean, that's more than that's quite a distance north of you. With regards to some of these amounts. So just bear that in mind. And yeah, there is sleet in the mix too. Atlantic City itself at 12 o'clock had moderate snow after a few hours of sleet and freezing rain. And that's another thing in some of these areas, Joe, where when the snow lightens up, there is some freezing rain in the mix or freezing drizzle when you lose the intensity. So just be aware. Just going to make for very slick going all the way around, no matter what.
I'm also looking, Joe, while you're looking at that, I'm just looking ahead here on the European. They have another system coming our way for later on Monday. At first glance, you'd say, oh no, here comes more snow. Or if you're a snow lover, oh yeah, more snow. But I did look at the operational European for surface temperatures. And at the same time that they're indicating later on Monday, the next chance for snow, they have surface temperatures in the tri-state area at or above 35, even touching 40. So you got to wonder whether or not that snow on Monday might actually be very slushy, very wet, and really not accumulating to any great degree. Of course, that's several days in advance. Things will change, but if you're not done or not happy with what you got out there now or into tomorrow, your next chance of getting something will come on Monday of next week.
Right. The latest HRRR, which was not really very good at picking out some of these bands from overnight and this morning. So this is what it has. It's only out for 12 hours, so we can't really see beyond 1 a.m. on Friday. So there's your snow. You can see the southern edge on the HRRR is showing freezing rain in southern New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania. I'm going to go check the OBS in a minute to see what actually is going on there. But yeah, it does pull out in the next couple of hours. You see how it lifts up. This is at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And then you got, that area pulls to the east. There's other snow that just kind of forms overhead during the evening hours. I'm assuming that this is from the looks of things, it's all light. And then I'm just going to watch this precip down in Virginia and into North Carolina, and some of the snow that's shows up in eastern Pennsylvania. There's that second wave that's in western North Carolina. That should be the last one of the bunch as it moves east. So now it's later in that time frame during the overnight that we see the possibility of some precip forming. I'm going to pull the GFS up, and I really want this model to go away because, Joe, really, look at what it has for tomorrow. It's got rain. I mean, and it did this today too. It has rain. I was talking at the time that the GFS has got rain here along coastal New Jersey. It has at the very least sleet, but it's got rain all the way inland, almost to Trenton, where it was still snowing last I checked. So there's been something wrong for the last year and change with regards to how the GFS, the parallel doesn't have this. The parallel has all snow, by the way.
Okay.
And
Well, maybe that's why in the next month they're going to get rid of this
yeah,
and
and go to the
replace
go
it
to
with
the
the parallel.
parallel. So it does have precip though. If you look here for Friday, this is supposed to be what the GFS radar is supposed to be. What the radar is supposed to look like tomorrow morning. So it does have what looks like a healthy dose of precip tomorrow morning into the afternoon and evening, and it matches up with what the European has. Now I want to go back to the NAM from last night because this caught my eye. It wasn't nearly as it was much less robust on the day run, but you know what? It might be back on the next run. We'll see. But here's the first surge. We can roll it back all the way through. So here's your first surge on the NAM, which shows this is for right now. This is what the NAM says is going on right now. And you can see the darker blue snows and the heavy snow bands. I can tell you, I can look through my basement window, the basement window, Joe. I'm getting huge flakes outside. I mean, really big flakes. So if I could see them through this window, I'm thinking I'm S plus at the moment. Whoa, yeah. Yeah, it's snowing pretty hard out there. So that's the first wave going out. And then watch this during the overnight on the 6Z run from last night, Joe. Stuff from the west is overhead for tonight. And then look at that bulging area that comes up tomorrow and just sort of enhances the snow. We even get into some darker bands here on the from the that mid-cycle run because it went to town on this last wave. And then this is tomorrow evening with all this darker blue snow back into western New Jersey, and then finally, it's still snowing here in some places, Joe. Still some leftover snow showers at 1 in the morning on Saturday before
Right.
it
That's
goes
what
away.
that's what the European, the new European was alluding to. I mean, for goodness sake, there may be parts of our area, most notably east of New York City, that may not see their final flakes from this event until, as you just mentioned, early Saturday morning. Amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And all of this with a flat wave going into a ridge position. I mean, it just shows you, seriously, I mean, it just shows you sometimes uh, the stuff comes in odd places.
I can tell you, Joe, that the radar. I don't know if you want me to bring it back up
Yeah,
again.
go ahead, bring it back up. So this way I can go and look at some the 1 o'clock obs. You bring the radar back up.
I'm going to
And
do that right now.
I also want to acknowledge as we did get another super chat hit today. Oh, my board is empty. I just thought I saw it. I thought I saw another super chat hit.
Anyway,
Uh,
I just wanted to point out that where I am in western Putnam County, according to the radar, I'm pretty well done for the moment. It looks like all the stuff now. Well, I can see what you're talking about. That area of yellow orange, moderate to heavy snow, is literally sitting right over your house, Joe.
oh, I
So
can. Yeah, Joe, those flakes have to be the size of quarters that are
yeah,
coming down. Okay, I'm gonna pull up. Go ahead. You keep talking about the radar. I'm gonna. I just noticed there's a special weather statement that just came out for Westchester County, and also for the southern parts of Connecticut, mainly south of 15. So I'm just going to check really quick what that says.
like I said, at least for where I am, and
Yeah,
also for northern and northwestern Westchester. I don't know what that statement has,
yeah. It
but
says
at least for the
heavy snow, band of heavy snowfall shifting through the area through until 3 p.m. 1 to 2 inches per hour, quarter-mile visibilities or less. I'm in that right now, so
Well, you're in that. It's plainly obvious on the radar where the yellow orange, as I pointed out before, anywhere between 3/4 to 1.5 inches, and those isolated areas of red, probably 2 inches or more. But where I am, there's nothing now. I'm looking out the window out toward the sliding glass door. I don't see anything specifically falling. The green probably is, I don't know, anywhere from 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch per hour. But
mhm.
even that's lifting out away to the north and east. They're saying this is going to last till 3 o'clock. Guess what? This radar shows that it's going to be coming to an end very quickly within the next 15 minutes over much of Westchester County.
Yeah, here the park for the first time in a number of hours is reporting light snow and no visibility restrictions. Light sleet at LaGuardia, moderate sleet at Kennedy with an eighth of a mile visibility. Uh, Newark was heavy snow for a couple of hours. They are now light. Temperature of 25 there. Teterboro 26, 1 mile in light snow. On Long Island, we've got sleet at MacArthur Airport, 3/4 of a mile. Moderate at West Hampton, moderate at East Hampton, light at Shirley. That's that warm pocket must be rolling. I must be just north of that little warm nose, and that's why I'm getting all these big flakes here at the moment. Restricted visibility is a half a mile or less. Moderate at White Plains at 1 o'clock. Light at Newburgh, 3/4. Montgomery light. Poughkeepsie, 3/4 there, Joe, at 1 o'clock. Flurries at Albany. In New Jersey, Newark, Teterboro, Somerville is light at Linden. Millville reporting mixed precip there, mixed precip at Atlantic City 31. Wrightstown was moderate for a few hours. Now they've got freezing rain there in 28. Toms River, light snow in 29. Belmar, light snow in 28. In Connecticut, Hartford, Danbury, Waterbury, moderate. Bridgeport, S plus. That means heavy snow. Meridian, New Haven, Chester, Groton, all moderate there. Light snow in Willimantic. In Rhode Island, light snow in Providence. 3/4 of a mile at Block Island. Westerly, Mass is 1/4 in moderate snow. And we have Nantucket, light snow. It's snowing in Nantucket. My God, you know it's cold if it's snowing there. Lights, 1 mile visibility, light snow there. Westfield, flurries. Boston just cloudy. Worcester, cloudy and 24. By the way, folks, check your home barometers because the barometers are all up in the 30, 30, 30, 35 range. When I checked it a couple of hours ago, some of these readings were up in the low 40s. That's that big high to the north, and some of that dry air is probably the reason why we're seeing the northern edge of that snow is just getting shut off, kind of a line like a razor.
Well, what you're seeing right now on your screen, I changed over to the Albany radar, and you can see again from the same perspective, not much is happening out here, moving into the central and eastern sections of the Hudson Valley. You see this, and I suppose I don't see any yellows or oranges. This particular view, maybe it's the green that is more in line with moderate or moderate to heavy snow, but you see that band kind of appearing and then dissipating or breaking up north of Poughkeepsie. So this is the perspective from Albany. Let me just take one more.
Yeah. Also, Joe, if you could bring up the Dover radar so we could see what's going down around Washington, Baltimore, and get a bit of a wider view when you get a chance after you do Fort Dix.
Your wish is my command, and there it is. Here's the Dover radar, and you can see that it looks like South Jersey right now with this view, Joe. The echoes are beginning to diminish some midway and during the latter part of the echo, say after about 18Z or 1 o'clock.
Right. By the way, 165 on the thumbs up on the likes. Thank you so much, and a little bit more to get us over 200. That's like our new thing now. We want to get over 200. Steve Lapointe hitting a super chat. Thank you, Steve, and thank you for your help. Also, the chairman hitting super chat in Manalapan at 7.1 inches, and Scott NYC hitting super chat today. And earlier we had Frank Russo, and there's the chairman. Chairman on the hitting super chat. I'm just running real quick. I always want to make sure I say a big thank you to everybody. I don't like to miss when someone hits the super chat on YouTube. Okay, go ahead. This is what, Dover, correct?
No, this is now I changed to Philadelphia. Philadelphia Wrightstown.
Okay, so that back edge is kind of pulling out rather quickly now.
Yeah.
All right.
As I said, I think this is what we just have gone through in the last 3 hours. Pretty much is the peak of the storm. Not to say that it's over. We will have through the remainder of the day, tonight, tomorrow, more snow. It's just that if you're looking for places to see like 2 inches per hour, like we saw in central Jersey and maybe parts of Queens and Long Island, it ain't going to happen after this afternoon. But whatever we see this afternoon, tonight, and tomorrow will certainly add on to what we've already received. I'm not even sure, Joe, where I am, whether or not I'm going to be able to use the snow blower. I don't think there's quite enough of that. I may just have to go out with maybe with the leaf blower.
Yes. John Strell. Just hit, I hope I got that. I hate mispronouncing people's last names because they do that to mine, and I know how much I don't like it. So I hope I got it right. Hitting super chat. Thank you, John. Most appreciated. Patricia Owens in northeastern Pennsylvania says she probably has about 8 inches of snow where she is, but it's not coming down really hard. If wind would be a concern, but there's very little wind going on. Yes, that definitely would be a concern if we got some wind around, if there was wind to throw into the mix, but there isn't, thankfully. And let's see, 3.2 now at the park. David Scott reporting. So the park closing in on that magic 40, Joe.
Yes.
And
We
remember,
need about
folks.
four more.
Yeah. I got my snow forecast map up. I did a little revision, just a slight revision, and these are. I'm going to bring that up here. So, okay, hang on. I'm going to switch down to my page. And let's go to, let's see, Control O. There's my Control O, Joe, works always, very well, just so you know.
Just rubbing it in.
I had to rub it in. Okay, so what I did was I basically left this alone, and this is cumulative. So this is also going to include whatever falls tonight and tomorrow on top of what is falling today. And by the way, given the character of this storm system, looking at it in hindsight, because I know this was a topic of conversation last night, still a topic of conversation this morning regarding the winter weather advisory that Upton put out for areas from New York City and northeastern New Jersey, north and east. And folks were saying, well, why are you going 5 to 9 inches and going only with the winter weather advisory? And the reason why was because of the criteria of 6 inches in 24 hours was not going to be met, given that this is being basically spread out over almost 2 full days. So in hindsight, considering that this first area, which came in faster and now seems to be going out a little faster, it probably was a good call, because it's almost like we're getting 2 separate events here. So what I did was, cumulatively through these storms, I just left everything alone with that open band of 6+, and inside that band, as a lot of those places up in New Jersey and Pennsylvania are close to it. Some local amounts up to 10 inches. And I'm going to kind of stick with that through tomorrow. And we'll see what happens with whatever develops tonight into tomorrow and this backside stuff, if it materializes. And I still have the 4-inch line up the Hudson Valley. Maybe want to tuck that down a little bit further to the south. And then 4 inches also across southern New Jersey, a 4-inch line. Again, there might be some backside stuff. A lot of areas in Southwest Jersey have a couple of inches on the ground, so it wouldn't be a complete shocker if on the second wave, if it gels up, that you could wind up putting down another couple of inches over there. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it.
I pretty much, I haven't done any adjustments to my snow map from yesterday, but I got to say one thing. This area, this zone that I had for 6 to 8 inches, if that zone were about maybe 50 miles further south, that would have hit perfectly.
Well, listen, I think there was a logic to putting it up there, because that's been the jackpot zone, and we've seen every storm this year set up a jackpot zone north and west of where the models were. So I don't think it was unreasonable. I don't think it was unreasonable to put that jackpot zone that far to the north.
And the other areas, most of the other areas, 4 to 6. Well, obviously in Central Jersey they have more than that, so it overperformed. But most of the other areas, Long Island, Hudson Valley, Connecticut, 4 to 6 inches. I think before this is all over, said and done, certainly we will be in that area.
We'll be in that zone.
Yeah,
I believe so. I believe that'll be the case as well. All right, so let's see. I just bring up. Let's see if I could do just a quick look at the long range. I just want to see if the plan of attack remains what I think it will remain as it will remain. So let's take a look. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to see it for the first time with everybody else, and we'll put this up. And there you can see the funny thing, Joe, was the fact that the trough lagging behind by a day was important because it's actually generating that last wave. You know, it's not the sharpest trough in the world, but certainly not the dullest either. That swings around and lifts up and out. And then we have, of course, your system for Monday. We have no block. We do have a new vortex, though, forming up north of Alaska. See that spot of very dark blue that develops? That's another polar vortex that's forming. And then we'll see what the model does with it. Does it drop it down? No, kind of holds it up there, rotates it back around. We do have higher than normal pressures building across Iceland and Greenland again. This is now next Saturday. And by the way, Joe, take a look. There's a little breakaway trough in the middle of Mississippi Valley that heads for the Mid-Atlantic coast, and I think the GFS did have a little bit of a tried to make something out of that, although it passes by to our south. And then over the longer haul, just looking at this, I mean, it gets a little blocky up there again toward the end of the forecast period when we get into the first week of March. Up in Greenland and in the North Atlantic, you see there's an upper high there that develops over Greenland, and suddenly the troughing comes back into the east. So I'm still where I've been. The blocky pattern comes back for a time during the month of March at some point, and that'll be maybe the window of opportunity for snow lovers, maybe the last window of opportunity for snow lovers for this winter season.
Yep. And what a difference from a year ago. We had a positive Arctic my mouth is freezing, Joe. A positive Arctic oscillation. Everything was bottled up over the polar regions. This year, it's quite the opposite, diametrically opposite. Hardly any snow in the tri-state area last year, and here we're just 3 inches shy of working on 40 inches. It really is a complete turnaround from what we had 1 year ago, and I have no doubt, as you just said, that we're going to see maybe a renewal of all of this to some degree. Maybe not as significant as what we've just gone through the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
But certainly in March, I don't see this pattern quieting down anytime soon.
No, but a well-deserved breather, though, at least next week, the way it looks. All right, so folks, no show tonight at the regular time since Joe and I did a show today, and we are wrapped up. We are exhausted. So unless there's a major surprise tomorrow with this wave that winds up, producing something other than what we're forecasting on the upside, Joe and I think, are going to take the next 3 days off. So we won't be back until Monday. Okay.
This will be our version of the President's Day weekend.
Right, which we didn't have. We did not have.
Yeah.
Scott Donnick just hitting super chat. Thank you for the early YouTube live. Precip has stopped in Point Pleasant. 5.5 inches there, just shy of 5 weeks left until spring. Jason Schaefer hitting super chat. Thanks for the hard work. And Jason has his own. Jason is a meteorologist. He was also my producer when I used to work at Pix. He would produce for me from time to time, and he has a podcast that you might want to take a listen to. He puts up that podcast every day, so that's a good thing to do. And by the way, the Joe and Joe Weather Show is available as a podcast. It's up every day. Usually goes up about an hour after the show is done, and you can listen to it on your spare time. Maybe you use it to fall asleep at night. I don't know. But you can find it on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you podcasts are call their home. The Joe and Joe Weather Show there. And by the way, Joe, on the last ranking on Listen Notes, we were number 12 podcast on Listen Notes for in the Earth Science category. Not too shabby. There's a lot of Earth Science podcasts. So to finish up, to be in the number 12 position is pretty cool. Those rankings change every day. So when the weather is active, you go up. When the weather is quiet, you go down. But I guess we're in this active period, so the podcasts are getting attention, and that's a good plus, a good thing.
And Jason is still at Pix 11?
I'm not sure if Jason, are you still working for Pix from time to time? We have to wait for the lag now, the 20 or 30
Well,
second
while we're
lag.
waiting, 10 more to 200, Joe.
Yeah, I know, 189. Get us over 200.
So come on.
That's been the new goal for us to get 200 thumbs up.
As
And thank you
Steve
again for
Lapointe
those of
says,
you who have hit the like button.
as Steve Lapointe says, smash the thumbs up.
Yes, Chuck Cardillo just hit super chat. Thank you, Chuck. Thanks very much. Most appreciated. Chuck up there at 3,000 feet in the Catskills, where he gets 200. We want 200 likes. He gets 200 inches of snow every year.
Yeah.
Well, actually, at least 100. He's over 100 already, and we're over 200 on the likes. So now we can say
There you
goodbye.
go.
All right, folks. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Stay safe. Enjoy the snow. Remember, get your face away from the screen for a while and go look at it and enjoy the beauty of nature, because it doesn't last. It's going to eventually melt and go away, and then we'll be all talking about next winter. All right, but we still got some time left. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.